would you like to say about what Rylan Clark had to say?
Yes, I totally stand with him, if I'm honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I totally agree for someone to go on mainstream TV and actually talk right less than anyone else would have in Parliament. And yes, he is right, letting these people across the channel and being given in 4-star hotels within the Bell in Epping and the Britannia in Canary Wharf and getting all this free stuff, the iPhones, tablets, iPads, etc. But yet we've got British veterans on our streets who's actually fought for this country who can't get into hotels for an accommodation.
Okay, so Thomas, you're right that veterans should not be in that position, but you said 4-star hotels like the Bell Hotel. I just looked up. The Bell Hotel's not a 4-star, it's a 3-star first of all.
A 3-star, 4-star, right, fair enough. But
and
still,
then
they shouldn't be put in there.
Okay.
And this is what has caused it all. They shouldn't be. We should have the veterans in them and not these people who have come across the English Channel from northern France into Dover and be putting in these hotels. It's not on.
Okay, did you hear, I don't know if you heard, we went through everything that Rylan claimed with our political correspondent, and some of it was true and some of it was not so true. So they don't all get phones and iPads. That's not true.
Most of them do. They come in here, get similar to that.
How do you know that?
Because you can tell they do. You see them all the time. I see a video on social media that someone went into one of these so-called hotels where they're staying, and you can see they've been given a PlayStation 5 to sit there on. It's not on.
So there's a clip somewhere on social media as someone's been given a PlayStation 5.
Yep.
And you believe that? Do you think they're all getting PlayStations?
Where else would they have had this from?
I have no idea. Do you think they're all getting PlayStations?
Most of them could be. Like I said, they could all get in all this technology these days. And it goes to show they're getting everything for free. And like the government took away the winter fuel from the OAP pensioners. Think of how these old people are feeling right now when they're not getting everything. And these so-called asylum seekers are coming in and getting everything for free. It's not on.
Okay, Thomas, that you turned on that winter fuel allowance. They changed their minds about that.
Yes, but it shouldn't be happening though. How can they take that away from OAPs and turn on for everything? It's not on. And Rylan's absolutely right what he said on Tuesday or whenever it was this morning.
Where do you get your information from, Thomas? I'm interested. Do you get your information from, I don't know, from LBC, from the BBC? Do you get it from social media? Who do you follow on social media?
You can read it all up on the newses, all different ones. Social media these days, it all goes round.
So do you go to social media more than, newspapers or whatever?
I listen to the news. I listen to LBC every day. Okay.
Well, that's good. That's good. Keep listening.
This running with, they're all given free mobile phones, they're all given free this, they're all given free that. I was having a conversation with my neighbour last week, who's a lovely lady. I wouldn't say that she's in any way racist or anti-immigration or anything like that. But we were talking about how much money they got. And I said, well, actually, they get £7 a day. And she said, well, they've all got expensive phones. And I said, how do you know they're expensive phones? And she said, they look it. So I went home and I looked it all up. And there's dozens of charities out there asking for people's old mobile phones, their laptops, their tablets, their PlayStations, their whatever. So this idea that the government is giving people all these things for free and, you just come here and you just get everything you want at the cost of us, and some of it is at the cost of us. But we've lost our humanity. We've absolutely lost our humanity. This othering of people to further people's political careers, to be honest. And that can be balanced. I understand that there are people here that shouldn't be here, that they need to be processed faster, and they want to be, they need to be returned.
Okay. Jackie, I think the point here is that, excuse me, on phones and iPads and all the rest of it, there's three things that are probably happening here. One, some of these people are bringing phones with them because they have phones and they're telling people, I'm here, I'm there, I've made it, I haven't made it, whatever. So presumably they bring some phones with them. I don't know. The second thing is that people, charities, etc., are giving them phones. And the third thing, I suppose, is that some of them who are working, and they're not supposed to work, but some of them who are working use some of that money to buy phones, presumably so they can communicate with family. I don't know. But the point remains, and Jackie, thank you very much for your call. The point remains that some people who are listening to this don't think that asylum seekers, small boats arrivals, people who come in on small boats should have things like that. Why do they have PlayStations? Why do they have phones? Why are they being given? A few of them are being given iPads. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the discussion that we used to have around prisoners, and we used to say, "Oh, they got flat screen TVs. This is luxury." I just think that if you have that point of view, you have that point of view, and I don't think anything is going to change your mind. Some people will see this as basic humanity. You know, being able to communicate with people. Pretty much everyone's got a mobile phone. And some people will say, this is disgusting.
The government need to be transparent around the support that's being provided. There's so much speculation around what are they getting, what aren't they getting. There's nothing to hide. The government just need to come out and say, when they arrive, X, Y, and Z happens, this is what happens, and then people can take a view on whether that's reasonable or not.
That sounds like a really simple thing to do. I think there's two issues there. Number one, a lot of people don't trust politicians anymore. So the government would come out and say red is red, and some will say, no, red is not red, red is pink. And also, how often does the government have to come out and address this stuff? I mean, you know, is it once a month, once a week, every day?
Yeah, I understand your point. I just think, around such a sensitive issue, which is clearly causing tension across the country, I think if something's not done, I fear that we're on the brink of, some serious action taken by people that aren't happy.
If everyone thinks, like people like Ryan Clark and some of your callers think it's so cushy, why don't they get a ferry to Calais, throw their passports away, go and pay 10 grand for a people smuggler, come across on a dodgy boat, and if they get here without drowning, then they too can live the life of luxury in a 4-star hotel.
Well, you make an interesting point. You make a good point, but there's so many buts here, Jim, because first of all, some people are just closed to this completely. They just don't think we should be accepting any asylum seekers. I mean, you understand that, don't you? That those people do exist. Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's lots of people who don't think we should have people of colour in our country.
But they're not. Yeah, but hang on a sec, Jim. They're not always the same people, are they? Because Rylan Clark was making a point there, wasn't he? You heard what Rylan said there. He was talking about legal migration, NHS, nurses who saved his mum's life, and then he was separating it out and talking about illegal migration.
Yeah, illegal migration. I mean, how many asylum seekers have we got in this country at the moment? About 100,000?
Oh, I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, it's around 100,000. So, in the big scheme of things, that is hardly anything. We had 700,000 people come here the previous year, and before that, I think it was over 1 million.
Are you hang on? Are you talking about what are you talking about? You're talking about legal migration.
I'm talking about legal migration.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the point is that it's illegal immigration thing is getting completely overblown. I mean, if people are really concerned about housing and NHS and all this, why aren't we talking about the million of people that were invited to come here 2 years ago? The 700,000 people that were invited to come here. They're all sort of using the NHS. They're all using housing.
Yeah, most of them are working and paying tax, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the asylum seekers would like to work and pay tax as well. That's why they're here. I mean, they're not here. You're not going to cross half the world, put your life at risk, crossing the channel on a dinghy to stay in a hotel and receive £10 a week. I mean, what are these people on?
Do you think there's misinformation or not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think it swings both ways. And I think the problem you've got is when you've got social media and less than 30-second clips sometimes showing you one side of a thing versus another, and that's all you interact with day in, day out, you're going to only have that perspective. But I think what it's indicative of is that I think somebody earlier said that the country has lost its humanity. I don't think it's that. I think we've lost the ability for healthy, evidence-based debate. And if something comes up that you don't like, even if it's like 100% true, and people can prove it with facts and statistics and everything else, because you've got that echo chamber of support behind you that say differently, doesn't matter whether you're left, right, you're just going to stick to your guns and go, no, I don't believe you. And I think that's where we're at as a country with this, with a lot of issues, but with this one, people that are really far right are going to believe that thing. People that are really far left are going to believe the other thing. And the people that are sort of like in the middle are going to go, I don't know, because I'm just a this or I'm just a that, and I just want to have a nice, happy life.
Is that you? Are you in the middle?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I'm married to an immigrant, and we are sitting, and looking at the tensions and going, right, what's going to happen? And then you sort of kind of give your head a wobble and say nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, like they are a legal migrant. They have to do quite a lot of hoop jumping to remain in the country, but they're not given things, and that sometimes kind of gets me annoyed. But then again, are these people being given the things? That's what you've got to try and work out when you've got callers that saying yes, they're getting everything, and others that saying no, they're not. So
I'm about to speak to someone who believes that they are given stuff. Have you made up your mind about whether they're given stuff or not?
I mean, I think there is some evidence to suggest they are. I mean, there's a couple of videos that I've seen where it's people going around the back of the hotels and they're unloading new flat screen TVs. But is that the migrants, or is that the hotel going, hey, we're quids in here, let's get some nice electricity in the wall, like some good stuff? Because I used to work in hospitality, and when the Ukraine war broke out, we had Ukrainian refugees housed in the hotel. And their thing was they were allowed to work, they were allowed to, they had so many meals a day provided by the hotel, but the staff didn't get those meals. And the animosity that started to come towards, when I say genuine refugees, I'm just, that was you knew they were coming from Ukraine from the war. Yeah. The animosity from some of the staff towards those people was quite palpable. So
you do believe that migrants are getting lots of stuff?
Yeah, I do, 100%. And I think Rylan Clark is 100% right. And something has to be done. I mean, and they are fed 3 meals a day. And you see it on social media. They are fed 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, evening meal. And if you put 100 of them in one room, I'd say 98 of them would have a mobile phone. Whether they're given to them by us or the government, I'm not sure, but they all have a mobile phone. Usually, when you see the pictures of them in newspapers, they're normally a top-of-the-range mobile phone as well. They don't lose that in the dinghy or in the English Channel when they're coming across. Another thing is, where's all the women and children amongst all these? You never see a woman or a child. You never see them. But the government, they all say women and children. Where's the documentation that they come across with? They come through 9, 10 countries to get here. No documents. We haven't a clue, and we haven't a clue who we're letting into this country.
Okay, Wayne, you say
100%.
where... Okay. All right, Wayne, hang on a second. I want to try and answer just at least one thing. You say, where are the women and children? Yeah, the majority of them are men, absolutely. I think it's like 83 or 87%. But there are some women and children that come.
You never see them.
Well, maybe you're not looking.
Where's the documents? Where's their documents? You don't see that.
Okay, Wayne.
Do you know what? Yeah. I was in Spain. I was in Spain last year. I take my dog every May and September. I go to Spain. We take our dog. They wouldn't let me out of the country in France because I'd missed the vaccination part in Spain. Going to the vets, but I was 5 hours late with the vaccination. 5 hours. It cost me 200 quid for a hotel in France. I had to go to an emergency vet in Saint-Omer. Cost me 140 quid for a tablet, which the vet threw on the floor. My dog ate. So it's cost me 350 plus a day's work, a meeting I had the next morning when I was due home.
Okay. All right. Wait, Wayne, I have to stop you there. But we've slightly gone off the point, but you did make your point at the beginning very well.
I get my information by staying in Britannia hotels and by listening to the woman who came on your show earlier from a charity saying a lot of these phones are second-hand and so on and so forth. Yeah. Whether you agree with the asylum seekers or not, I don't believe they're given top-of-the-range phones. These people who come on don't know what phones they've got. I stay in Britannia hotels all over the country. None of them are four-star or salubrious in my view. And as for games rooms, some of them will have a games room because that's been there for previous guests. I stay in them. Some are mixed with asylum seekers and ordinary guests. Some go over 100% to asylum seekers. But Rylan is ill-educated in giving out false information, bearing in mind the stature he has as a presenter.
What about...
He did say, I note, he's not a journalist. He's certainly not that.
No, well, I mean, but Eric, I know he's not a journalist, but he's got a right to say, to express his view. I suppose the point that we were trying to get across was have your opinion, make your point, have a platform, but if you can, try to check your facts.
Exactly, don't give out false information, which some of what he was giving out, I believe, is false information.
Well,
and it just revs everybody up, whether you're for or against them. That's why I think he's ill-educated in putting his head above the parapet to give out this false information.
But do you think he made any good points? He did say, legal migration, this country's built on it, etc. They saved my mum's life. But did he make any points that you did agree with?
He made plenty of good points, but it all went out the water when somebody gives false information. It's like when somebody raises their voice during a discussion, straight away forget them.